Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Tech Files Dose of Common Sense. Common sense is supposed to be so common. How come it seems like no damn buddy has it? Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Dose of Common Sense on July the 12th, 2017. How y'all doing today? All right, so we're going to start straight out the gate with one of the issues that we were having last night. The Samsung Galaxy S8 and the S8 Plus and their complete and utter waste of hardware, especially when it came to Bixby. July security update had Bixby on board. And then we found out that we couldn't remap, which royally sucked. But thanks to the wonderful people at Android Police, we have now found a way around that again. Nice try, Samsung. It didn't work. So we can remap now anytime we want. Of course, that's until they decide to update the software again, in which case we're stuck again. And it's just going to be one of those nasty circles until they get everything right. Updated story in the description. So if anybody's interested in finding that way, please look up that story. I'm sure everything will be just great once you read it. Also on the Samsung front, Innoetics, it is a text and speech company, has been bought by Samsung for an undisclosed sum of money. And buying this company will actually help them develop the skills that they need to release Bixby in the right way. It's just a crying shame that they could have not have done this about 2 or 3 months ago. That would have been great. So my hope is they actually get it fixed, and people that want Bixby can use Bixby. Or, like I was saying last night, very simply, just update the application, guys, to let everybody in on this beta that you're running. I mean, it's working great so far, so just open it up. Make it so much easier for this, really. Okay, so we're going to stop off on Samsung Boulevard right now. And we're going to squeal around to some breaking news. And I mean breaking, as in it literally just came within the last, 90 minutes. According to Engadget.com and various other news sources, the pictures of the Pixel and the Pixel XL have leaked. Presumably the manufacturer on this particular device will be LG. Thankfully, none of their marketing will be involved. I'm sorry, LG. You really need some serious work done to that. The screen will be 6 inches. You will have the 18:9 aspect ratio. This phone will have the Snapdragon 835, 4 gigs of RAM, and 128 gigs of storage on this puppy. And it will have the squeeze configuration that they have apparently come up with a variation that HTC has. So let's hope that works. But until it gets a little bit closer to the announce date, which will probably be, I'm going to guess it's probably going to be late September, early October before they even get announced. We're going to have plenty of time for a lot of those leaks to come out before then. So once again, anybody interested, please follow the link in the show's description and go directly to the article. That concludes our fun with LG. Now, going from LG to another company that is kind of wallowing in the weeds. I mean, they did do a resurrection, but it's kind of wallowing in the weeds out there. We have, that's right, kids, the Moto X 4th generation. Well, the Moto X 4th gen has went through the Geekbench benchmark program. I don't personally put a whole lot of stock into the benchmarks, especially after OnePlus, HTC, and Samsung all know how to beat them. So, just a quick overlaps on this. Moto X 4th gen went through Geekbench. Apparently it scored very, very well. I don't have, or I'm not able to get the full specifications of the Moto X4. All I know is the announcement date will be probably July 25th in New York City. Don't be surprised if you see a couple of Verizon exclusives in the meantime. So just, hold your head together, try not to have your brain explode, and I'm sure that they will come up with something that will suit us. So, we do have that information. Now that we've covered through Moto and Samsung, we are going to go to kind of a new segment here. It may catch on, it may not. I just thought I'd put it in this particular segment. It's called from the Are You High file. The Are You High file represents people with ideas that have come completely out of left field or started in the tech industry and was better left the hell alone in the tech industry. And the first one that I could possibly think of right now, Candy Crush. Now, Candy Crush, in my personal opinion, should have stayed on Facebook. I never used it. I've had my phone try to install this program, must have been about 150 times, and had to fight my way out of a couple of installations. However, CBS doesn't seem to think that having a show called Candy Crush installed on their network, seems to be so bad. I can just imagine the advertising on this run right now. In fact, I will act as the ad executive for this one. We have a new game show on CBS. Yeah, what is it? We're going to introduce a new game show, and it's going to be called Candy Crush. There's going to be a dramatic pause while the ambulance is taking the people that have fainted out of the room. Oh yeah? What's so special about this Candy Crush as opposed to the one that is Facebook's plague? Oh, we're going to have AC Slater co-host it. Oh, Jesus. How much is it going to cost? We don't know. So you're going to put a show on the network that their only claim to fame is going to have, it was an annoying game in Facebook, and you're going to have the kid from Saved by the Bell and Dancing with the Stars run the game. Well, yeah. Okay, go ahead. We don't have anything else that's good right now during the daytime. And they don't. They really, really don't. So AC Slater is going to host a new version of Candy Crush. It is going to be a live version of Candy Crush, and it will probably be released later this year. I'm going to guess just in time for the fall sweeps. Well, whoever's doing the sweeps, better man your brooms now, because they're going to be getting the shattered remnants of that show. I would say I don't give this game show a month. I mean, your only market for it is going to be people that have nothing to do rather than play Facebook and Pokemon Go. Actually, Pokemon Go might make a great game show if for no other reasons you can compile all the dumbness that people do to get their Pokemons, and you can compile that alone into a 30-minute show. That would give me enough funnies to last a week. Really. The next toke from the Are You High file is AT&T. And I hate to put you here, AT&T, but you earned your way into this spot. Here's why. AT&T has not been a big fan of net neutrality. As a matter of fact, they sued the United States government under the Obama administration and the former Federal Communications Commission over net neutrality because they highly protested the way that the rules were going to be enforced. Well, AT&T has now decided they're going to join the net neutrality protest starting today. Now, there will be certain websites that will shut itself down. There will be websites such as Twit, This Week in Tech. They are going to operate almost as normal, except they're going to be operating in what's known as black and white, which will basically put them on the same bar as YouTube and Twitch and Stream and all that good stuff, because for some reason black and white bandwidth seems to go the same speed as the rest of it. So there is that. And the next one we'll have will be, wait for it, along with AT&T taking the toke from the RU High file, we now have Louis Vuitton. Now you may ask me, hey Ed, here's a question for you. Why would Louis Vuitton be part of the RU High file? Well, when you have Android Wear 2.0 that has been stumbling, trying to release the Android Wear 2.0 operating system to their watches, well, Louis Vuitton is going to make this one big headache. They have made a smartwatch carrying Android Wear 2.0. The price? $2,400. I really don't know why, other than to say they have the most expensive smartwatch in history. I mean, this is even more expensive than Fossil, and I'm a great big fan of Fossil, folks. I owned 2 Fossils at one point. Unfortunately, though, I've never been able to get my hands on a smartwatch from there. Needless to say, it's reasonably priced. There is one that runs close to $1,000, but I would love to actually review a Fossil smartwatch, though at least we would have an alternative to what we currently carry now. But I doubt if anybody reviews this Louis Vuitton Tambor Horizon, whatever it is, everybody better pray, because whoever's going to review it's going to have an ad buy to cover the watch. Because I guarantee you, Louis Vuitton will probably not send review units for this. So keep on the lookout. Something's going to be coming on that one. So I wish them luck. I really do. I just don't think that it's going to be all that much fun. And that thing has more bells, whistles, switches, and whips than, well, I need to stick to a non-explicit tag, so I'll leave the rest of that alone. So, good luck, Android Wear 2.0. I hope you can survive Louis Vuitton. So, LeEco gets LeSued. No, I didn't mean to be flip. I'm literally saying LeEco is now LeSued by Vizio. LeEco was going to buy Vizio, and they were going to buy him for, I do believe, $3 billion earlier in the year. And the reason they were going to do that is because that would give LeEco one hell of a footprint in North America in order to market and sell their goods. Well, with the current cash crunch right now that LeEco is going through, and now that they have pretty much pulled almost completely out of the United States, along with derailing and dashing Faraday's future, pun intended, and their little gigafactory, which costed them over $1 billion. Vizio is suing LeEco for $100 million due to the failure to complete the transaction to buy the company. LeEco really doesn't have a leg to stand on. It doesn't have a wheel to roll on, even though it's deflated. Because your bikes went thud. You need to pay this, honestly. That's my personal opinion. And the only reason they're suing him for the $100 million is that was the breakup fee that they negotiated in the contract when they were going to take the company over. LeEco has stated that the reason they canceled the transaction was because of regulatory issues. I don't believe that for all the tea in China. I think LeEco pretty much did what various other companies have done. They've gotten into new markets, and the next thing you know, it's a champagne taste, and they have it in your pocketbook. And in their case, the pocketbook's gone. LeEco has had assets frozen in China. They have had to hold off paying their employees a few different times now, and we just read recently that they are going through it again. So stay tuned. LeEco might be at the end of the line. We just need to see if that's actually going to happen. Now, I don't normally announce deals on the podcast, but in this particular case, I will. And that's because we need a little bit of good news here. So, here it is. If you have a stateside carrier such as Sprint, or even T-Mobile, or AT&T, or anything along those lines, and you want to switch your phone over to MetroPCS, well, you're in luck. If you switch your phone over to MetroPCS, starting today, you have the option to get 2 free LG K20 handsets. And it's actually the K20 Plus. Now, this is what makes it good. When you switch over your number, you have the ability to get one of the K20s for free. It's already paid for when you do the switch. The only thing you're going to have to pay for is sales tax and first month service. Then you have the option to activate another K20 and just put a line of service on it. Now that's a good deal, folks. That really is. And they're also telling me that any handset that they currently have at MetroPCS that is under $99, that particular phone that's under $99 will be half off. Now, this isn't a bad deal, folks. The reason I say that is because I have had MetroPCS in the past. This was before I worked for Sprint. I did return to the T-Mobile PCS fold when I left Sprint because, number one, I know T-Mobile and MetroPCS have better service, and I know their customer service is awesome. And the one thing I did not like using Sprint is because all their sales and everything else, guess what, kids? Those sales offered by Sprint, well, let's just say they have end dates and they don't necessarily tell the customers what happens when the offer's over. Like, for example, the third, fourth, and fifth line that was supposed to be free when you went to the Unlimited Freedom. Now, a lot of people didn't tell customers this, but that particular deal was only for a year. And the very first wave they did that, their year is going to be winding up very shortly. So when that deal winds up and that 3, 4, and 5 line is no longer free, it's going to turn into a $50 per line deal. Depending on how many lines they have, it's either going to be 50 or it's going to be 40. And I kind of feel bad for that. That was one of the main reasons that took me away from Sprint. Aside from the fact that their relations with their employees are completely horrible. But I'm not going to go into that one on the air. I would rather talk with them personally if they ever wanted to, which they never did. So, that's not my particular problem. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to come up to a very, very short break. And then I'm going to talk about Windows Phone 8.1 and just where in the hell is going on with that as of right now. We will be right back, ladies and gentlemen. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back to the Dose of Common Sense. And we're entering our actual final segment for tonight. I don't normally pop up on Tuesday evenings, Wednesday mornings, but just to let you know, special circumstances had warranted it. Especially with the fact that we were talking about the Galaxy S8 and the S8 Plus. I wanted to let you all know that there was that workaround for Bixby. And I wanted to let you know about the current situation with LeEco. Two stories, or one real quick story, and then I'll get on my Windows rant. Waze has now styled their program to where it is now acceptable for you to help give yourself directions. I know that's a little bit of a shock, because you've always had the option to download somebody else's voice to give you directions on where you wanted to go. They've picked from several different people, such as The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, various celebrities were able to give you directions available through a download. However, now that they are saying you have the ability to put your own voice into Waze and give yourself directions. Now, this is a very funny, it could be a very funny feature to that application. This story was announced in USA Today. The link to the article will be in the show's description. Before I start with the other one, if you have any questions or comments, and we are starting to get answers as to what your daily driver was, if you would like to tell me what your current daily driver is, please send me an email, show@techfilesmedia.com. If you want to talk about what your daily driver is, send me an email, show@mediafiles.com, or techfilesmedia.com. One of these days we're going to do that. If anybody has questions, comments, or business opportunities, please feel free to contact me at that email address. Just to let you know, a little housekeeping. We are working with Apple to get an iTunes link to put into my show's URL so we can become an iTunes affiliate. because I would like to be able to recommend some apps and some games and some music and movies that I feel like you might enjoy. So stand by for that. That should be coming up within a matter of a couple of days. I must thank Daniel J. Smith over at Audacity to Podcast for setting me up to apply for the affiliate link. That help has meant more to me than you will ever know, sir, and I thank you for that. So now, we are going to this is going to be a little bit of a rant, guys, and I will apologize for this beforehand. And this is going to be a big F for fail here. But I have to get this off my chest on behalf of probably, I'd say, at least 10 million different users, both past and present. I don't know what's going to happen with the future on this. So here we go. Any phone that is Microsoft or Nokia that had Windows Phone 8.1 or under, you are now out of the support window for Microsoft. Microsoft will no longer support your product as far as the firmware is concerned. I personally, I have a big issue with this. Here's my issue. We have relied very heavily and reliably on Nokia and Microsoft since 2007 for Windows Phone. You started with Windows Phone 5 and then Windows Phone 6 and then Windows Phone 7 or Windows Mobile or whatever it is now, was then. And we really didn't have any problems until you guys started with the Windows Phone 8 and the 8.1. And the way that Microsoft described this at the time was racing a car down the track and changing the engine in it mid-race. And they said that we were going to have some hiccups, and we did. Well, about that time, Microsoft was bought, actually Nokia was bought by Microsoft. Reason for that? Oh my God, Nokia cannot go to Android. We must prevent them any way we know possible. And they looked to a man named Stephen Elop, and Stephen Elop said, I wish to sell the Nokia manufacturing division. Well, Microsoft bought it for $7 billion. Now, thankfully, at that point, Microsoft already had a couple of phones in the pipeline to be released. Some of them were good, and some of them were downright embarrassing. And then, the plane that was flying high on the Nokia and Microsoft mobile trademarks proceeded to dive directly for the ocean with no pilot on board, and the next minute, it crashed. So long, Microsoft Mobile. Now, the issue that I have, Microsoft, now that you've decided to pretty much trash, died, and buried anyone carrying a Windows Phone 8.1, actually, this would almost apply to some people carrying a Windows 10, because last I've heard, you still haven't fixed your App Store. Now, I personally would love to be proven wrong, so if you are listening and somebody wants to send me a Windows Phone to try, I'd be more than happy to. I really would. I mean, I know you've gotten other people to design your handsets and carry them. TCL is one of them, which also makes the BlackBerry Key 1. And, you know, from what I'm understanding, I don't blame the people that are manufacturing the phones. I blame the people that are higher up. Because even in the middle of all of this stuff going on with Windows Phone, we still had one ledge to cling on to. And that ledge was called Surface. And they even bought a domain that had Surface Phone. It was bought and paid for by Microsoft. And then you released the 950 and the 950 XL with Continuum, which I still never got the preview model for that, by the way. And I was a Window Insider and actually offered it. But apparently, I never got the device. I wasn't all that concerned about it at the time because I was in the middle of transitions. I was at a crossroads in my own life. But now, it appears that you have decided to ditch it all. And I can't help but to say that I'm just a little bit angry at that. Because you have let everyone down that had any hope in seeing a revived Microsoft operating system for the phones. I don't know what you plan on doing as far as Windows 10 mobile is concerned. I hope you managed to do something there. I would have been more than satisfied with the McLaren phone that Windows Central had managed to get a hold of sometime last year. And if anybody's curious on that one, look up Windows Central on YouTube, or even Mr. Mobile for that matter. Michael Fisher's a very good guy when it comes to getting phones like that. And he will tell you exactly how it works. He used to own a Lumia 1020, I believe, which was the best Microsoft phone I'd ever seen. I just, unfortunately, have never had the pleasure to use one that high. My Microsoft Windows phones were already in the 521s and the 635s. I did have a chance to get a hold of the 930. Unfortunately, I wasn't with Verizon long enough to get it. But it seems like now that Microsoft has let Windows 8.1 just sail off into the wind. And I think that's sad. I think you need to find a way to bring all the phones up to Windows 10 one way, shape, or form. Because that is a shame. And that legacy that was left by the very first Nokia, you helped destroy. And there will be people that will probably not forgive you for that. But I'm just going to sit back and I'm going to watch what happens next. And I want to drink this nice little Dr. Pepper that I have over here. And hopefully you will have the will, the way, and the know-how to resurrect it. So, end rant. So, ladies and gentlemen, that pretty much concludes our podcast for this evening or this morning. I'm just going to give a quick recap. LeEco has been LeSued by Vizio for $100 million. Waze can now accept your voice for giving directions. Let's just hope you can actually read what you're put in front of you. That way you can give yourself the right directions. MetroPCS has a deal right now where you can switch one line and get up to 2 phones. Awesome deal there. Android Wear 2.0 is now going to have a $2,400 watch. Good God, why? AT&T is going to join the net neutrality protest, even though they hate the net neutrality rules. Candy Crush is coming to CBS, folks, which would be about as exciting as if they had a Pokemon Go show come to CBS. The Moto X 4th Gen has been through the Geekbench benchmark program, for those of you who care about benchmarks. The Pixel XL leak as a squeezable frame with an 835 Snapdragon, 4 gigs of RAM, and 128 gig storage will be made by LG. That actually sounds like promising. Innoetics was bought by Samsung to be helpful with the Bixby AI solution. Hopefully that sale will go through hopefully shortly, and Bixby will be improved and hopefully finally released. That way you're not wasting about $100 worth of a button at the side of the phone. Or you can now bypass that button again. That link is actually in the show description. So guys, girls, if anybody has questions, comments, business opportunities, want to tell me about your daily driver, you have any advice you need to ask as far as phones are concerned, feel free. Send me an email at show, SHOW, at techfilesmedia.com. Hit me up on Twitter at techfiles or techfilesmedia. This show is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, iHeartRadio. Thank you, iHeartRadio. Stitcher, digitalpodcast.com, tunein.com, SoundCloud, and Pocket Cast. And of course, none of this could be possible at all without our hosting services at Spreaker. And I thank them for their support. We are available at techfilesmedia.com. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you very much for having me into your homes this morning, this evening, whatever the time may be, wherever you're at around the world. I thank you. The Dose of Common Sense will be back tomorrow as regularly scheduled. If no other shows warrant, the next day after that will be on Saturday morning. These shows will be published by 6 a.m. Central Standard Time in the States. Once again, if you have any questions or comments, show at techfilesmedia.com. Email, Twitter at techfiles or techfilesmedia. We're here for you guys. Thank you very much for your time. Thanks for listening, and we will talk to you all later. Stay classy, folks. I appreciate it.